Welcome to the Epic Success Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Shannon Irvin. So it's the time of year where we all start to think and reflect on the year that's passed. And boy, what a year it has been. This is when I'm recording this is 2021. And we're going into a new year, 2022. And I know how I feel right about now, and I'm wondering if you feel the same way. Last year, 2020 going into 2021, we had been in a pandemic. We'll leave that there, but we were in a pandemic and we were all so hopeful. Like it's going to be over and it's a new year. And we were like, yes, let's go. Everybody was ready and engaged and growing new businesses and super pumped, right, at the beginning of 2021. And then the pandemic didn't necessarily go away, or at least it would continue to be brought forward again and again with new variants and new reasons to gain politically and all the media issues. And I think there was almost like a cloud that descended upon a lot of us that felt like, will this ever go away? And this roller coaster, no matter what's going on, no matter if it's like a high of the best economic year ever, or if it's what we've dealt with over the last couple years, I want to talk today about anti-resolutions. You see, there is an old broken narrative and way to succeed that doesn't work, yet we repeat it year after year after year, and we wonder why it's not working for us, but then we still do the same thing again. Like, right, we're all sitting here, we're writing goals and we're looking toward the future, and I'm hearing from a lot of you, and there's almost like a tentativeness toward the new year. In fact, I heard someone say, I'm not going to say next year is the best year ever. I'm just going to plan my plans and put my head down and hope that it works out. Well, I can tell you the only time hope is a strategy is when you're hoping in God. And other than hoping in God and Jesus is coming back, there is hope. Hope goal setting doesn't produce results. The broken way says set goals, try harder, work harder, be more productive. And if that worked, there's no doubt already you would be wildly successful. If you think about it as an equation that has been indoctrinated into us from an employee-driven, outside-in mentality of write it down on paper, put it up on a wall, don't ever look at it again, and then just be a good worker, work hard, work hard, work hard, and you will be successful. Well, if that worked, you would already be successful. Because one thing I know about you, you're working your rear end off, you're doing all the things, you're taking all the courses, and your confidence that you're going to get to that next level just has taken a hit. And it's not your fault. Like, this has happened because of this narrative that we need to reflect. Now, do we need to reflect on and try to make ourselves better? Yes. Do we need to decide in advance what we're going to create in the new year? Absolutely. But I want you to think of an anti-resolution mindset, that you're not going to go into the new year with, here's what's broken with me, and I'm going to resolve to fix it. Here is what's broken in my business, and I'm going to resolve to do better, with the old broken system of work hard, try to be more productive, try to focus, try to use willpower. And then what happens? We've all experienced this, right? Like we tap out our neurochemical systems that are like using willpower and norepinephrine to get us through. And about mid-January, we start that slippery slope of shiny object syndrome, being distracted, not being able to focus. I don't want that to be the case for you. So I want to talk about these key things to really tee up an anti-resolution process for you. And it's not about setting goals, it's about setting achievements, right? So your brain needs to believe it in order for you to see it. When your mind sees a list of things that you want to accomplish that you haven't accomplished yet, and let me just say it for myself too, generally speaking, those are the things that didn't get accomplished in the prior year. So I'm moving them forward to the next year. And what that does for us neurochemically in the mind is starts this cascade of not seeing the end, but seeing the present. And it works in direct opposition to how your mind wires success. Did you know that your mind has a system for success? It's an untapped system for most people. Most people don't tap into this readily available, super easy to access driver of your success. And if you haven't, that's not your fault either, because really we were indoctrinated to raise our hand and ask for permission. So we compare ourselves to others, and we doubt our expertise, and we wait for the right time to do anything because we're waiting for that thing that comes from the outside to tell us we're expert enough, it is the right time, and you do have a valuable place in the market, right? And so when you're thinking about the new year, I want you to get out of this idea that it's outside of you and start to really tap into how your mind, how alignment, okay, write this down. The alignment in your life is your assignment, right? So what you've gone through, your mission, your vision, your calling is what you're meant to serve other people with in the world, right? It is God-given, it's ordained for you. It's what you are meant to go out and serve other people with. And then we go out and do that, and we reflect back on how we're doing based on our own inadequacies, our own lacks of confidence, where I'm going to really challenge you to align with your mind, right? So success is a system in the mind. It's a system in the brain. God wired you to have access to how to wire success. And they're fundamental universal laws of how we are put together internally and externally, how that manifests itself. And it's simple. And here's the thing. We get caught up when we start with this resolution, goal setting, put it in the book, and then don't look at it again. And then mid-January, we start that slippery slope. We start to feel like something's wrong with us because we're procrastinating. And really, productivity is an attainable and practical outcome from aligning with your mind, from tapping into the system, the blueprint that's available for you to make success the natural byproduct of your calling. A lot of us, right, you really feel that I haven't lived up to my full potential yet. I have this calling that I'm really meant to do in the world. But yet I go to do it and I feel stopped. I feel like I'm not enough. I feel like it's not the right time. I'm doubt myself. I don't feel confident. I compare. And all of that is reflecting to yourself versus aligning with the mind. So I want to challenge you as we're going into the new year, as we're thinking about what's going to happen and the season and Christmas and reflection. I want you to flip the script. I want you to start aligning with where your mind wants to go versus where it's been. See, the broken model is reflect on what has passed, which is the thinking that got you to that result, and then reflect from that thinking forward. And that's why it is a broken model. It's a system of success that doesn't work. I want you to flip that script, and I want you to sit down with just a bright, shiny piece of paper and a pen or pencil and just align with your mind. Really sit down and write it out as if it's already been achieved at the end of the year. Like, what will you accomplish? Not what goals will you set? What will you accomplish? And yes, when you go to do this, your mind's natural being untrained is going to tell you all the reasons why you can't, don't know how, don't have resources, it's going to throw a temper tantrum. Let that be the confirmation that what is in automation in your mind does not align with where you want to go. And get as equally passionate about seeking after aligning your mind, aligning it with where you want to go in a simple step-by-step blueprint that is God-given, that you have access to already. You just need the steps and the processes, but aligning with where your mind wants to go and starting to define that out. Resist the how, because our mind wants to go to the how and try to bring you back to current, what's the word I'm looking for? Current scarcity, right? Abundance exists in the aligning with your mind in the future. So if you want to create a future result, you have to think a different thought. And the thought that we need to think when we're creating our plan is to create a plan with the end as if it's reality, because your brain has to believe it in order for you to achieve it, right? So align with your mind. Sit down and really define success in its present tense, as if it's the end of 2022. If you're listening to this in the future, that this is the year this is recorded, but as if you're sitting there with the best people in your life celebrating, and you're just giving the story of what has happened to make it the best year ever. You got to align the neurochemicals, align the neural networks, start to build a pathway in the mind. So the next question I usually get from this, because that's how our mind works, that wants to know, is how do I access the success system in the brain, right? How do I get the blueprint? How do I get access to this? Well, there are two key components to the blueprint. One is really building that pathway. And that's what we're talking about today, about anti-resolutions and aligning with the mind. You've got to build the blueprint to the place that you want to go, with texture, with detail, with all five senses. And anytime your brain tries to kick up the how you're going to do that, that can come later. We can break down the stratagems of how, but your brain has to believe it first. And if you don't do this first, you're going to be in opposition in your mind, almost like imagine a tug of war between your subconscious and your future. I don't know about you, but I want to get on the side of the rope that the future is and start pulling alongside of it. And one way that you can do that is stand and say, I am anti-resolution, hashtag anti-resolution. I'd love to see you do that on socials, and tell me one thing you're going to align your mind with that is going to be the result in the next year, and start getting your neurochemicals to work for you and start to build a success pathway in the mind. Now, with the blueprint, there's more pieces that come with that. There are some pieces of eliminating, neutralizing, and erasing those blocks that tend to get in your way, blocks about money, success, failure, worth, those kind of things. We'll dive more into that in the new year. But for this moment right now, I want you to stand tall and say, no more resolutions, anti-resolutions, hashtag anti-resolutions, and tag me at Dr. Shannon Irvin, and tell your mind, align with your mind, one success fully developed in your mind as if it's already accomplished with all your senses, and start to see your brain, your mind start to align with the vision that you want versus the past that you want to move from. All right, that's what I have for you this week on the Epic Success Podcast. Here's to anti-resolutions. Here's to an amazing Christmas season. And I hope as you're reflecting on the future and bringing the future into your reality, that you are able to experience the joy and the gratitude and the generosity of this season. All right, that's what I have for you this week on the Epic Success Podcast. I'll see you next week. Bye for now.